One of the many benefits of attending baseball games at Diethrick Park is you never know who you're likely to meet.
You shouldn't live in the past. It's dangerous. But to visit it is just a wonderful experience.
I remember flying in here and it was raining and the plane was bouncing around and had a baby on there was crying. That was the first time I'd ever been in an airplane. I can remember being so scared. Oh, because at that time you just don't know how good you are and how you're going to fit in. If you're going to be able to really play, or if you're over your head now.
Beginning at 6 p.m.
And it was a little Canadian kid named Bill Atkinson. Had a real good curveball. But that was probably our weakness that year at pitching. We didn't have a very good pitching staff, but we had a lot of hitters. Bobby Goodman was the #1 draft choice in the country that year. And
whatever happened to him?
And he just injuries. He got, he tore up both knees, he tore up his shoulder, and just kept him from getting in the big leagues. In fact, he was drafted ahead of Gary Carter that year as a catcher. Don Hopkins, who went on to play with Oakland a little bit, is one of Finley's pinch runners, when he was using the track guys. He was a world-class sprinter that Montreal tried to make a baseball player out of. And he never learned how to hit, but Finley tried him for, I think, a year there for just a base stealer, when he was going through that era. Yeah, I remember one game that we were playing here in Jamestown, and we were leading the game. We're about 12-1 or something, and a big score. We're killing the other team. And Bobby Goodman was catching. And Cannonball Smith was at first base, who won the Triple Crown that year.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a great year here. But Goodman kept noticing they got a guy on first base, and he was noticing that if he'd come up like he was going to throw it back to the pitcher, that the guy on first base was putting his head down and walking back into first. So he got the idea that if he'd just come up and took a step back to the pitcher and then threw it like this to first base, that he could pick the guy off. Well, he'd throw it. He must have made a good throw, but Cannonball Smith or myself, I was playing right, and neither one of us seen it. I looked down at the ground, like a lot of times after a pitch, and I looked back up, and Mike Hart's the second baseman, and he's running out there. And when Mike got excited, his voice got real high. Get the ball, and I'm like, I don't see no ball. I'm standing out here like this, and this went down in the right field corner, and the guy wound up scoring from first base. And man, we come in after the game, we won the game 12-2, and Walt went up one side and down the other by not paying attention. 3 home runs in both leagues. One of the few guys ever to do that. And I hit 3 grand slams in 1 week. Only a couple guys have ever done that.
Well, I remember that.
I think winning the division with Montreal in '81, that was big, and then winning it again in '88 with Boston. And getting to go to the playoffs, those are big things. Going to the All-Star game a couple years. But probably the biggest highlight I had, I think, was one of the games where I did hit the 3 home runs. I hit 3 in one game in Atlanta, and my parents were there.
Oh, terrific.
So I think that was probably the best. I got up 2 more times that day.
You were swinging from the heels, were you?
Yeah, I think I started over swinging after that to try to hit 4, and I didn't do it.